Okay, sir. So, before starting, I would like to welcome everyone. I am Vasundhara, your event coordinator from Shine. I would like to welcome each one of you for attending the Shine HR Live. Our speakers for today will be Mr. Aditya Pal Singh, Head Talent Acquisition India at Informatica. Our second speaker is Mr. Sudev Das, Director Talent Acquisition at Unisys. Mr. Ashish Kakre, founder of HR Shapers, will be moderating the discussion on the topic COVID-19 impact on the jobs of the future. Now I would request Mr. Gakre to please take over.
Thanks, Vasundhara. So thanks for starting on the time. Very few session and webinar actually start on time. Good and good to see people on the session. So welcome everyone on the behalf of ST Shine, and thanks Aditya and Sudev to accept the invitation. So yes, topic is very common nowadays. As we know that only one thing is impacted, that how many jobs are going to be lost in this season, which is the COVID-19, what we call it. And we have esteemed speaker, they will touch upon this. So Aditya is from Informatica and Sudev is from Unisys. They are expert in talent acquisition and recruitment field. And what they are going to touch upon is, like how the remote and digital working will become new norm. We know because everything is being pushed upon automation, digitalization, and also we like to hear more on this. And how the full-time jobs will reduce and gig economy will see mainstream adoption, because COVID-19 has created opportunity for gig workforce, and it will boost up. What Future of Work was saying, that gig workforce will be coming after 1 year, but it's already there now. Many company already recruited many gig worker in last 2 to 3 months, and many are planning to do that actually. How the salary structure going to be there, because many of the salary and compensation structure will go kind of more variable, and if gig comes, so it's going to be altogether different scenario. People will look for maybe more take home, less benefit kind of thing. How the job title? I mean, it's going to be role based, project based. Let's hear from Aditya and also there. How the new jobs and role will be created. We know every crisis creates some opportunity. So there are some industry which has emerged like anything, and there are some more coming up. No doubt, there are many going down as a temporary phase. We all know it will stay at least for 6 months to 9 months. So we like to hear what are the new jobs. I mean, which are the industry or the industry which are already booming. What are the new jobs coming up? How the degree qualification uh, will have relevance, because company will look for education institute guys, degree qualification, or they will just look for guys. Do you know something? Can you do the job for me? While considering all this, there are many people who are new to this, including you, me, everybody on the panel and session. So how we can reskill and upskill in this challenging situation. So I stop here. I hand over to now. Let's begin with Aditya. Aditya and Sudev, we will have poll in between, keep coming, and perhaps that will directly pop up, and we can relate our discussion based on this as well. There are around 7 to 10 questions would be there. We will keep floating on this. We'll get the input from the audience. So over to you, Aditya, now.
All right. Thanks, Ashish. Quick introduction. I'm Aditya, Head Talent Acquisition for Informatica in India. Been in this space for about 2 decades now, and previously I worked in companies like Accenture, quite a bit of my career in Accenture, and then Saskin, and also spent quite a bit of my earlier career in consulting. The COVID situation, is a very interesting situation which we are in. I hope this is just a once in a lifetime. I will not say an opportunity, but the situation which we are in today, right? If you look at where we are, what has COVID done in this situation? Basically, the positive part is pushed us to the adoption of technology, right? Otherwise, this session would have been face to face in one of the hotels, right? So it's pushed us to adoption of technology, and I keep on referring to a law called the Martix law, which basically talks about adoption of technology, and technology curve is moving at this pace, and the organization adoption is at this pace. So there's a delta which is huge, right? With the coming of COVID, the delta has actually it's become a little less because we are forced to adopt to a lot of other things. We are re-looking at the way we are doing our own things as we speak today. So a couple of points I thought I'll bring it up, and Ashish actually broadly covered quite a bit of points when he spoke about the questions, right? One is the rise of virtual, workforce, right, which has come into play very extensively, right? Uh, all of us did our BCPs in place, and then we were pushed to then move all the teams there. Now it's like BAU, right? Everybody's got used to working from home. The complexion of work and the workforce both have changed. Even your workspace, right? Your workspace has become virtual, which is not very, very important now. Your work has also evolved around you prioritizing your own work and your house at the same period of time, right? HR for a function has moved to more agile as we speak, right? Being a little more static than now being more agile. I was reading one of the Gartner's reports which said about 48% of the workforce will work remotely post-COVID. While the number is very alarming, but that is expected to happen at this period of time. You'll see a lot of jobs coming up with being location agnostic, and this continues to be. And I hope this happens because at least it will decongest a lot of larger cities, and also you are in a position to look at untapped talent from all the other places, right? It will at least exhibit in that way. Roles are moving into more skilled clusters, right? If you look at all our jobs, we are doing 35% more than what we are doing right now, right? So actually, so the job classification is moving away, right? It's becoming more, you're becoming more fungible, you are doing a lot of more things what is expected out of you, you're adapting to change at a faster rate. That's what's happening, right? And obviously Ashish also spoke about the gig economy, which we discuss later on, which will have a uh, huge impact, right? I'll take an example of SARS, which happened somewhere in 2003, right? The positive of SARS was Alibaba came into play at that period of time, right? So I'm saying look at opportunity and challenges from a angle, right? You'll have online education. I have my son in the other room sitting. He has his classes going on, right? So education boom is online boom has it's huge, right? Teachers are adopting to how to do online education, right? You have some classes which are not happening, so parents are wondering how do I engage my own children when I am working, right, at the period of time. That's what's happening. uh, you know the last, and I will obviously hand it over to Sudev, is there is a huge test of leadership which we are not realizing. Your leaders true colors are coming out because they have nothing where to hide, right? It's coming out how calm they are, how confident are they, how are they over communicating with the team, how are they partnering with the larger organization, how are they keeping a check on the cash reserves of the organization, how nimble footed are they, and how real are they. This is a true test of leadership state which we are in today, right? So any leader at this period of time who's leading from front will play a larger role as we grow up further up. I'll hand it over to Dev. Yeah.
Hey, thanks, Aditya. Thanks, Ashish. Let me just introduce myself very quickly. I take care of Unisys talent acquisition for Asia Pacific. Prior to this, again, about 20 years of experience, multiple organizations like Intel, Motorola, and a couple of others. And while it's a pleasure to be here and speaking to everyone, I think I'm new to the pandemic as each one of us is. I'm no expert around it, like anybody else. But I think here are a couple of things, and Ashish and Aditya touched very well upon some of the aspects that we are seeing, that we will see as we move forward. But let me talk about I think Aditya touched upon a couple of aspects which are very relevant to today's context. But let me touch upon some of the human aspects and some of the behavioral aspects that have changed significantly and that are going to change significantly at a very core level to the context of human values, to the context of how do we respond to something like this, or how are we responding to something like this. So I think, I got involved from a perspective early Jan when this whole situation hit China, late December, early Jan, and we started looking at it and the dimensions as it spread its wings across. I would, like to call it as a black swan event. At the same time, a beautiful black swan, because there's going to be significant opportunity coming out of this. Aditya alluded to it. Adoption of technology is one. It's going to be significant. But also from a perspective of human behavior, we are learning resilience as a big one. And it's going to be a significant context as we move forward in terms of, whether you talk about leadership, whether you talk about employeeship, or just behaviors that you will see. So it's about resilience. How do I survive? How do I grow? How do I look at myself in the context of other things? That's one. Secondly, I see this whole factor, somewhere down the line, the context of trust and monetizing trust, or looking at trust as an important value or as an important context was lost. And I think that's going to come about in a significant way in everything that we do. Now that we are not face to face in the real sense, as humans, we tend to look at each other and decide whether we're going to trust somebody or not. So I think that's going to be something which is going to be very critical. And the other thing is dealing with tough times, figuring out, I personally believe it's a great time for innovation. It'll take effort, it'll take time, but there are people out there who are thinking, how do we operate with a new reality? And I think that's going to be a significant one. Coming back to some of the real things as we go through some of this, you talk about jobs. I mean, I've seen, and I'm sure all of us, all the panelists have seen the job market grow right from, hard copy context of resumes to basically where we are, which is everything is digitized, to getting further pushed using or leveraging video and artificial intelligence, et cetera, But that is a significant shift as we move forward. So I think the usage of technology, as Aditya called it, but it'll also mean shifting and changing some of those behaviors. How do I assess somebody? How do I assess somebody's soft aspects? Skills, yes. I think the context where I believe is your ability to learn and unlearn would be one of the key assessment areas as we move forward. Skills are great. You can buy skills, and you'll continue to see that. But as Aditya pointed out, the fungibility of skills. Can I be good at something more than the skills? Can I be useful to an organization beyond my current role or current way that I am currently doing my job? So I think those are things which we are going to see more of. The gig economy is and I've been following this. I think it's a significant shift what we are seeing right now. 7 years prior to this, I was running my own organization, so I've seen and I've worked with and seen the challenges on the gig side. But I think it's all going to get mainstream, and there is significant opportunity there. The learning space is going to grow significantly, and that will evolve based on self-paced learning. Aditya again talked about the education space. But I think as humans, our behaviors, the way we have been around is going to change significantly. So is the context of then compensation. What do I get compensated for? Do I get compensated for doing a job, doing a project, doing a piece of work, providing advisory, whatever that is? And I think those are some of the challenges we will see as we move forward. Ashish, over to you.
Thanks, Sudhir and Aditya, for a great opening remark. I think, yes, there are challenges, but there are the opportunities, I would say. Vasundhara, do I have option to share the screen? I can't hear you.
I'll just give you the access. I'll give you access, sir.
Yeah, okay. So while I'm getting access, would you like to touch upon? I will show. Okay, here is.
You have the right.
I'm just sharing now. Okay, show screen. Is it visible now?
We can see your screen now. It's yeah, perfect.
Yes, sir, it is visible.
Okay, great. Yeah, so like to have some discussion on this. So these are the survey done by one company. It's there on the internet as well, Google. So yeah, we can see out of 20 industries, Aditya, and so they many are going down, and perhaps this trend will continue for 6 months to 9 months. We all know travel is the biggest hit. Travel tourism, then hotel industry and all. And transportation, yes, because people may not be traveling. Construction will stop. Advertising will go online, so there'll be less money spent and all for outdoor and other things. But yes, there are booming industry like finance, which continue. I mean, these are the kind of essential services. Finance, food, healthcare, insurance will go down because if such thing continue to happen and if people claiming insurance, whether it's a COVID calamity or something else, so they will be in loss. Manufacturing will take time, though it will continue. Media is up, okay. Pharma is up. So these are the things. Would you like to touch upon, both of you, that any specific skills required in some of the sector? Those who are already working or those who would like to get into. Maybe let's take two set of people. One is the student and second is the experienced professional.
I can start. So if we stick around to the slide which which is showing, what we need to also understand, like we know travel has gone down, but what people need to realize, and I think they're doing it in France, but they are giving the virtual view of a lot of the museums, right? I'm saying people need to find the opportunity within that, right? I know we can't travel, but how do you make sure that we give that experience back to the people of saying that, hey, virtually using, AR, VR, basically look at that. And how do we create that situation? I'm just saying, look at all the industries and a lot of people can do things. What we are used to is, we are as predominantly, we are used to having a set process for everything. It's very difficult for us because we have been, specifically Indians, we've been educated, right? So start with, go to the top institutes, do this. Risk taking ability is far more lower. So you talked about what are the skills, which basically I would refer to, future skills required in the workspace today. Which is required is, one is your ability to solve problem, right? Your complex problem solving is very, very important. Creativity to the job, because that's what differs you from a machine, right? And machine and humans is a big topic, right? I'm sure there are people who can speak about it. Then you have people management, right? How do you manage people in the current space, right? If tomorrow me and Sudev are working together, he and I are speaking, but I don't know how he reacts to my certain question, because there is always a lag, right? When we speak also on technology, how do you manage this workforce, in the future? Your ability to negotiate, right? Your ability to work with multiple teams and get things done, right? You have to work as a, LinkedIn in terms, a lot of us as influencers, right? Your ability to influence, get things done without even having a correlation with that person. And one last skill which I feel is very, very important, which is cognitive flexibility, is basically the ability to stop suddenly and pick up and move and do something else at the period of time, right? Something very different. So adaptability in a nutshell becomes a very important skill, in the future, right? I'll leave it up to Sudev. He can add some more.
Sure, thanks, Aditya. I think the way I look at it, Ashish, yes, that graph is a powerful one, a lot of industries going down. but a lot of new things will evolve. You know, I know a lot of us are following SpaceX, and looks very near the future of space travel, and looks it's not too distance off. So all I'm saying is that I think as we evolve, you know, it's that whole, and I said that, right? In going forward, your ability to learn and unlearn. You know, Aditya talked about getting into a virtual museum. Yeah, we like to get there physically, touch, etc., etc. That's not going to happen. So, can we get on there? Is virtual tech going to pick up significantly, which I believe it will. Similarly, you know, so fundamentally, if you look at it, as I said, at the core, it's going to be a lot of behaviors to survive, to thrive. Behaviors like your adaptability to change, your ability to learn, unlearn, your ability to trust. And we don't realize it, but you know, when you're dealing with multiple teams and in a virtual environment, how do I know you agree with me? How do I know you're going to collaborate with me? How do I mean, you know, video has its own limitation, and I've run a startup on the video tech thing, so I know what it is. And you still want to meet the person, take a hiring decision. Now, in this scenario, there was no choice. Video was the only choice. I mean, so you go ahead and say, okay, let me interview over Zoom and make the offer, which was not the case earlier. I mean, I've had pushback in these sessions with managers who never wanted to get ahead and say, hey, you know, without a physical interview, I wouldn't go ahead and move forward. But we have, and a lot of organizations there have done it very successfully. So I think so one of the things is your ability, the EQ that always was mentioned now is going to be more important than ever before. How are you going to look at emotional quotient in a scenario like that? We're talking about mental well-being, health. How is it? Are you going to balance your home and work? The lines have blurred. So you know, I may say, okay, you know, I've slotted this time to do cooking, but you know, guess what? Somebody calls up, that's an important, it's a fire, then what happens? So I think those are kind of things we will see. As far as the industries are concerned, I'm sure whether we are sitting today and looking at travel, I'm sure there are going to be evolutions around travel and how travel could be or what it could mean. You know, in terms of the different aspects of it, we are talking about even manufacturing. While, you know, this is a scenario which is created, but it's not necessarily that the demand is not there. It's a question of, you know, how do consumers prioritize what they want and when they want it. So it's not going to go away. Even from a manufacturing perspective, you know, you look at the PPE equipment in the US and world over, a lot of people are manufacturing that and giving it to health workers or donating it by 3D printing. So, you know, they're right there. You know, that's the innovation that I'm talking about. So I think a lot of this, you know, Aditya alluded to some of these behaviors, the ability to be curious, innovate, question status quo, problem solve, are going to be really the life skills which will help you, you know, not just get a job, be successful in a job, but really help you thrive in more larger than the job context. Of course, you know, your things around are skills going to be important. Yes, they're going to be important, but I think people are going to look at beyond it. I mean, beyond one skill, what do you have? You know, can you do something else beyond your current skill? And I think those are some of the things that we will see as we go along.
Thanks, Sudev and Aditya. Yeah, I think adaptability, you know, more of interpersonal, you know, how do we change ourselves in a new normal and all, that's a critical thing. Because see, this is more to do with the digital as well, right? Today we are talking in a different, I mean, we are on Zoom and you are in different city, I'm in different cities, and audience also from various different locations. Whereas if you think about such kind of event happening, you know, so only one city, one set of people coming from one city, right? So digitalization, so we are also adopting, you know. Anything you like to touch upon, both of you, that, you know, I don't know whether it can be evaluated during the interview, since you guys are TA expert, that, you know, how the guy can be more digital savvy. I mean, by default, we have to be, right? But is there any sign that, okay, can we say out of, you know, 5 people, 3 are digital savvy, 2 cannot be digital savvy? Is it depend upon the nature of job? Is it depend upon, I don't know. Looking forward to hear from you.
So, digital savvy. And funny part is, I was listening to one of the webcast in the morning. One of the senior guys were from one of the big FMCG company. They said a lot of jobs at mid-level will go away to a lot of folks at the junior level, because the people who are coming in, they are more digitally savvy as compared to at the mid-level. It's become a norm that this has to be there, right? You need to be digitally savvy for you to be in a position to deliver what is expected from an organization. It's not difficult to assess, but it is like having a mobile phone, right? You need to have a mobile phone for you to be connected, so you need to be digitally savvy for you to make sure that you deliver. While people will be assessed very clearly on the skills which they bring to the role, but person who's able to articulate and express what he or she is thinking across will become a very, very important part in this current situation. But this will become like like the air which we breathe. Digitally savvy will become like a basic need. Sudev.
I think just exactly to your point, and it'll be one of those skills that you need to have. I mean, it's one of those it'll become those basic skills. I think to the larger point of what Aditya was talking about, yes, you will see a lot of transition to. In fact, it was happening a lot of larger mid-level jobs going to folks at the junior level, and it'll continue to happen. It's also to do with the context of revitalizing the organization. One, secondly, also the fact that brings in a different context. See, and I'll be very candid. I've not grown up in the times of today. I grew up when resumes were physical, and we was looking at stacks of resumes and shortlisting them over the weekend. Today, you require a different kind of skill to assess somebody over video, which is, does he, what are you looking at for you? You're looking for, and to your point, how do I assess that digital context? To Aditya's point, yes, if you have a mobile, that's one. But how many, the context of how many Zoom kind of calls do you do? What kind of job you have? Are you speaking to folks or customers abroad, and how do you do it? Are you more of a travel person vis-a-vis, somebody who's online and has that, as they say, are able to hustle? And if you're not, then that becomes some of the pointers that you look at from a digital perspective. But I think larger context is that it'll have to become something like, you need to be good in communication to get at this thing. So that's how it will be. I mean, it'll evolve, but there will be a shift. Organizations would want, younger talent to come in, talent who's grown up, dealt with this. It makes sense even from a business perspective. And we are going through that at Unisys, some of that challenge of a multi-generational workforce, and how do you attract talent vis-a-vis the EVP. So yeah, I think that's something which is going to be very real.
Yeah, thanks. So like Aditya was saying earlier, while Aditya kid is going through, what do you say, school classes online, right? Even my kid also, my daughter, my daughter class is like 11 to 1. So I need to take the laptop from her. Okay, I need to, attend the webinar, and then she's joining the class through, some other device. And we can imagine, and she is just 8 to 9 years old. I mean, after 10 years, how much she will be digital savvy? More than 100%, right? Yeah, today we got into digital only because of the situation. Okay, and today they don't have choice actually. If you talk about the kid, they need to get into. Even I have seen Aditya, and so there you must have experienced it. Even teachers also learning. Teachers also learning, what is the learning etiquettes virtually actually, because in the class they can see 20 students in one eye, right? Now here they are not there, the screen perhaps, they say, put up your video. So even it is interactive or not, we don't know at this moment. Everybody is going through experience. And while you touch upon the France wala example, I have seen one of the example where even it is there in China or some of the Southeast country. You go to shopping mall without touching a cloth. You are there on the screen. and the cloth keep changing, and you can see, how do you look like in XYZ cloth, which is coming on the mobile now. So while sitting at home, you can see the black t-shirt you are wearing. How does it look like? Something like this. So there are many new things will come. And so my point is, who will do this? Somebody may be doing, some industry may be doing. So there will be jobs created in this segment as well. What is the future of remote working? Would you like to really touch upon more? Because TCS, one point of time, they say, more people will work on remote. Now they are saying expense being shoot up. Some of the thinking, they are rethinking whether do we do it. Then there was an article just yesterday that, all the this will have a huge impact on real estate, because they will, most of the company will go into what you say, WeWork model. Many of the people will work from home. Those who don't want to work, there will be 20-30 seats in WeWork kind of a space. People can go and sit over there. So remote working is really the future, because we are still not matured as a country. In advanced country, yes, because there are people also disciplined. Here people are not disciplined. Anybody like to take up and give some views?
Yeah, so remote work.
Go ahead.
Yeah, so for a change, why don't you go ahead?
Okay. No, I think the way I look at it, I think, see, so let's dissect this whole work from home in the current context. I think it's pretty restrictive. I have, as I said, I was running my own company, and Ashish, you do too. And working from home is not something that we are not, which I'm new to. It's pretty similar. It's been around. I've worked co-working spaces, etc. What has changed is this whole restrictiveness, which is you can't go out and etc. etc. There's this whole context of a lockdown, and so the fact is that it has become very restrictive, and the context is that will change, that will go off. I mean, whether now 18 months down the line, that's going to go off. I think from a larger perspective, the question really is that if work from home, and if besides the organizations, I think most of us struggle with what are the games of the what are the rules of the game. Where does it end? Where does it start? I think quite a few of us are struggling with that. I think those are kind of norms which will evolve, and they will evolve from a perspective. Somebody will come up with this idea saying that, hey, this is what it looks like, and then it doesn't make a difference even from a location perspective. So now there are companies who are saying that if we are hiring people from a location perspective, then the context really is that what do you do? I mean, does it expose a different kind of a talent segment altogether? So you may be sitting in Russia. Can I hire you? Question is in the context that I have, and I think those are kind of things which will evolve from a perspective. And really, honestly, from where you're going to work really may not make a difference. But yes, I think what is going to be critical is there's going to be that core set which will need to be there at a point of a business perspective. So that's going to be critical.
Yeah, so just adding on to Sudev, work from home gives, what does it happen? So from an organization standpoint, in due course of time, a lot of organizations will have to make guidelines. We've had guidelines, but those are very different guidelines when we had put this, right? It was like what we could land up doing at that period of time. But right now, I think so it's more about, in due course of time, giving flexibility of individuals. We spoke about location agnostic jobs, right? From a very different angle, there's less stress in traffic, right? You save that much time, which time comes back to you as an organization and as an individual, which happens. And at a period of time, you also tap into a lot of talent which you wouldn't have tapped into, right? You will have from very different locations. Also, from a compensation standpoint, you can redesign your compensation philosophy of basically saying that, hey, maybe for this location, I will have a very specific, different compensation philosophy for some of these jobs, which does not require me or him or her to come to the office, right? So it's just about, I think the rest of the points Sudev anyway spoke about. So yeah, Ashish, back to you.
Yeah. Because most of the policy will also be changed. Like some company, they started looking into leave policy. I mean, okay, guys, you're working from a home. How do I design the leave policy for you? I mean, it's a different mindset people are thinking through. Whether it's right or wrong, it's only time will tell us. Yeah. Okay, so just last point, then we'll open for Q&A. We have sufficient time for Q&A. So would just like to touch upon the last point. Uh, it's very important point, both of you. Uh, Today we give too much of focus on the some institute and experience from some companies. Will it still be continue, because like what we touch upon, I can hire you while you are in Singapore, Russia. Okay, as long as you are able to do the job. It's very core point, which, okay, do I think, okay, I need only people from X company, I need only people from X institute, I need people only from 10 year of experience or 20 year in XYZ.
So I think the way I look at it, all of these boundaries are going to go. You're going to see a lot of boundaryless behavior. Also, there's this shift, right? The question really is, or the managers really, the hiring managers are today asking, can the person do the job, right? Now, each organization is different. Behaviors required are different. Skills can take you so far, right? But when you're talking about a dynamic situation and when you're talking about change is going to be the constant and accelerated enhancement of adoption of whether it's tech, whether it's behavior or whatever, I think the critical part is going to be your ability to adapt to what Aditya alluded to. So I think irrespective, if you've got the skill or if you've got the ability to do it, it really doesn't matter where you are, and you're going to see this as we move forward. Also, what is going to be important is your experience. Every touch point, so to say, with a customer, with a peer, with this thing, is going to be a moment of truth, because it's not necessarily you're going to be co-located in that same location. So, what kind of experience are we having with each other? That's going to determine, whether you are going to, as I said, you are going to thrive or you're going to get challenged with this thing, because everybody is different. So your working style would be X, my working style would be Y. We believe that in the office, everybody does the same thing. Not necessarily, but now it will get more accentuated in terms of this thing. So I think the rules or the nuances will have to be set for some of these things, and it'll come up. You will see some of this coming up, whether monitoring associates is a great thing to do, or setting a framework, or how do you assess productivity. Those are kind of things which are very transactional, but will get focused now. At the same time, or also, as Aditya was saying and as I was saying, that you will now have a pool of talent which we've, so to say, boundaried ourselves, and that an employee means this. The meaning of now, I think employee, the context of employeeship will be questioned. What does it mean? Do teams come together for a purpose, solve a problem, and then go away? That could be a model that evolves, or it is that, hey, I'm not an employee, but I have goals, I set, do it, and then just disperse. So I think those are kind of things which will evolve.
Yeah, so I was reading a report from McKinsey which says about 65 million jobs can be created after we do a productivity search, right, about the roles. They're also looking at a lot of redeployment, right? A lot of roles will be either displaced or transformed because of tech. That will happen. A lot of your routine work in due course of time will be done by a specialist who would specialize in that. A lot of our decisions, and which we are already doing, but will be more insight driven. And we speak about creativity, empathy, and collaboration will be very critical part for any of us to grow, right, as we grow further, right. Gig economy, gig workers will come into play. Adoption in India is slightly slower because of right now, obviously in the current situation it is struggling, but I think suppose this, they might put some norms and flexibility, so that make sure that this workforce comes into play, because the good part is this is time bound and the person comes and finishes the work at a period of time, right? So some of these skills and what Sudev spoke about, I just want to add on to what Sudev said.
Thanks for all the input. I mean, that was great conversation instead of Q&A kind of thing. Okay, so we are open for a question answer now. Vasundhara, I can't still see the question tab. Can you help me where it is?
Sir, it is in question section, but I can let you know the question that has been asked. As work from home is going to stay, what are companies thinking for employee benefits like car, petrol, convenience, etc.?
So, who like to take up this? I mean, yeah, people are worry about all these things as well.
No, so yeah, so the benefits, I think so. The more benefits, organization is obviously relooking at a lot of their guidelines because of virtual workspace. I think so. I think the organization more trending what how do you manage one continue to manage adoption where you troubleshoot your own laptop issues. I'm being very honest, right? How do you virtually do that? Secondly is how do you engage with your virtual workforce, right? So basically talking about benefits, how do you make sure that your workforce is both mentally and physically fit, right? How are they evolving? How are they in touch? Because you are not there now, right now in office, right? I don't know what so they would do in his house at this period of time, right? People used to famously say that, hey, I love staying at home. Now I think you can ask the question in a very reciprocative way. But yes, a lot of organizations are learning. They are redoing a lot of their policies. They have companies which have very important different benefits program, and this is the good part, right? HR has just become very agile as we speak at the period of time.
Well said, Aditya. I think so. One of the things which you will see, and so the organization from a benefits perspective will become more expansive. When I say expansive, yes, it will not necessarily be your traditional fuel petrol, but what about mental health? What about health, physical health? Do we do a thing around mental, physical health? What about family? So I think there are organizations who are already looking at it and seeing, is counseling needed? Is it time with family needed? Is it time off that you need beyond what we are doing? Because as I said, lines have blurred. So I think you're going to see some really innovative things coming around even on that front, and with some of the organizations building that out as going down the yeah. But I think traditionally, as we know it, the fuel, the car, I think that may or may not go depend on how it plays, but organizations are becoming more sensitive in terms of the well-being of their employees, and this is a classic opportunity to see that how many CEOs are there and how many organizations out there are calling this out again and again, because they understand the challenge with just being work from home and seeing how it has impacted employees in many ways, not just at physical, emotional, mental, but it's a significant impact for all of us.
So yeah, thanks Sudev and Aditya. So that question from Sajid. So if you're not going to office, how company will take care of XYZ reimbursement. But yeah, they will try to compensate as well. Because like Sudev touch upon, yes, mental and health expenses will shoot up like anything. Correct. Yeah, but I'm thinking this mental and health will be only temporary, because right now we are in lockdown situation. When lockdown is open, cities open, people will move around, right? They will just work for the time what they are supposed to work. Then after 6 o'clock, it will be our different schedule. Right now we are 24 hours at our home, so we are thinking, guys, if you're 28 hours, 20 hours, you are sitting, there may be some problem, you may be facing. So let me take care of your health. But after some time, it may not be an issue. It's a temporary thing. Okay, so we have more question. Let me check. Yes. Okay, here it is. Sorry, just give me some time. This is a new thing for me. There is the question tab. Okay, attendees. Vasundhara, can you read the other one? I just saw that, but now not getting that there. There is one more question.
The questions are already answered. So I would request attendees to please post the questions, if any.
Okay, we started before time. We will close before time, but please shoot out your question. Okay, so there is one question. Many jobs will be automated. Mundane job will go away. More SME will be required. Customer facing skill will be required. Finally, communication will be the key. Okay, so that's more of comment. Okay, fine. So there is one question from Arman. How will the manufacturing unit will continue since work from home is difficult? Yes, so Sudev and Aditya, this question always comes from some of the participants, and both of you from service industries. It's easy to say work from home because people have good foundation, logistic, and infra support. But unlike other industries, they don't have, and they need to be on the floor, they need to be on the job, they need to be in the office. Any idea, how the manufacturing unit will continue? They are anyway working with short capacity and less manpower because it's going to hit their production as well.
Yeah, so one which I'm hearing is the industry is also looking at smaller shifts, less number of people who come in different shifts, and the handoff is done to another one, right? So there is continued to have workforce coming to office, but the less number of people, not too many people at the same time. They've broken down the work in a way that one work is done, and then the next team comes in and moves into the next phase, right? So and obviously a lot of organization now investing on how do you look at machines to do some of those basic works, right? Which can be automated in a way, because a lot of what is happening with everybody here and everything, irrespective of the industry, is automation. Everybody was thinking, it's like in when we do assessment, we say value creator, right? Oh, value creator is I've done automation on this. Now people are pushed to in a way saying, hey, I think I can automate this. So now see Ashish, there's a new rise of all these entrepreneurs who are ready to help, right? As simple as that. I'll give you a very small example. You have those hand sanitizers. There's a basic machine which basically says you don't need to put your hand to press it, you just need to use your foot, right? I'm just saying there is a push now, and then there is solutioning which is happening at the period of time. But manufacturing will take time. We'll have to solution it of saying that how do we break down the work, how much of the work can be automated, how much of the work can the employee get it from his own home to go and deliver it, right? So all that can be broken down into various pieces. But yeah, that's one challenge which manufacturing will have to live with for the period of time right now.
Yeah, and I think just to top it off, I hope and pray that this is just a transition period, whether it's 6 months, 12 months, and we would get back to some of that. But I think a part of that new get back would be to rethink what Aditya was saying is how much of it do you automate, what do you do, and how much of it, what are some of the new things that you deploy, both from a perspective of automation and efficiency, but also from a perspective of how can you help team members and associates get better around, because here's an opportunity. It's like rewriting the script again. This is like a big reset button that has been pushed on planet Earth. So the question really is, if you kind of rethink it and read this, I think the outcomes would be could be very interesting as we go forward.
A great input, yeah, because if you just look at the India population, it's more than 100 crore, and if any company is switching over to healthcare and medical and pharma, for example, everybody need mask, right? And some company, they already switch over to production of the mask. So by default, we need 50 crore masks, right? I mean, so those things are anyway taking place. Great. We have another question from Sajid. Can you share something on interim leadership, as there are many senior employee available in the market? I'm not sure whether it's a complete question. So there, Aditya, are you reading something here from this question? Let
I
me
actually
read it once again.
Go ahead.
Let me read it once again. Can you share something on interim leadership, as there are many senior employees available in the market?
I'm assuming he's saying interim leadership, and since there is huge available pool of lot of leaders by virtue of the current situation, what's happening to those? And I think so. I spoke about it somewhere in the starting. It's about real leadership. It's about leadership in crisis, which a lot of leaders will have to come forward and depict. And because now you can't hide behind someone, right? You need to lead from front, irrespective of the function which you do. And how are you available to the larger employee irrespective of the role which you do, right? Even in HR, right, irrespective of your function, right, you are responsible for the employee in the organization. That's your first priority, right? The right experience back irrespective is very, very important. So interim, more from looking at how do you lead as a leader, and how humane and how empathetic you are as a leader is for me very, very critical. And the leaders which will shine now will be the future leaders, which will grow very extensively as compared to a lot of their peers who are not doing anything.
Great input. In one of the session, what I did learn that leader became more human being. Those who are task oriented, they also started taking care of the people, right?
I think, to Aditya's point, even if you look at some of the leaders who've done really well globally, whether you talk about the Indian and the leaders coming from abroad, I think the question is, it's all about being human and being to that core. So he talked about empathy, Aditya talked about empathy, humility, your emotional quotient, your ability to stay calm under this whole scenario of crisis, your ability resilience. Those are kind of things which are of leadership. I think skill, and ever than before, you will see it taking kind of a backseat. I'm not saying it's not important, but it's not going to be the thing which will get you across the line. And I think that is something which you'll see recalibration around. What do I want? Whether I want somebody who's outstanding with the skill but not good in all these areas, rather than having a great human being having the skill and that balance. So I think a lot of that you see as we go forward. While there may be a lot of availability, as Aditya said, in the market right now.
Agree. We have 10 minutes. I think we can take 2-3 more. So, Sudhav, I come back to you because there is a question from Nidhi. What is Unisys doing differently to relocate their talent strategy for the future?
I think a couple of things. It's interesting having come to an organization and being a part of an organization like this. It's a multi-generational workforce. People have been here. It's a company which has been, more than 100 years or so, kind of a situation. But it's also a context of how do you attract young talent? How do you get your EVP out there? At the same time, you have to appeal to segments who are, whether you talk about the leadership, whether you talk. So I think what is going to happen and what we are doing, working around, is a lot around that. What does, and just a small example, does TikTok appeal more? Do I go to the TikTok appeal, or do I go to the Twitter appeal? Or do I go to LinkedIn? So it's those are the questions we are asking ourselves. And I think there's a real thought around this, and in the current context of, what, to Aditya's point, what does a good leader look like? What do good people look like? Are they just skill oriented, or they behavior oriented? And those are kind of contexts that Unisys is looking at it, and it's across the region that we're looking at it. It's a tough question to ask ourselves, but I think at the right time, from a diversity perspective, is it just one in terms of gender that are we chasing, or is it a larger diversity of thought and people from different backgrounds? So I think those are some of the questions that we are discussing internally and thinking about as we move forward and set the agenda post-COVID.
Agree, Sudhav. I think every company looking at to restructure their headcount planning and all, and perhaps this may be temporary, this may be permanent. Only time will tell. But yes, it's time to relook at it, revisit. Great. We'll take last two questions. So one question coming. I think partially it is answered, but let me re-put it. What will be the factor which will decide employee who work from home and the ones who won't? I mean, many companies still don't have work from home policy, and I was disturbed to see the comment and help coming when this lockdown started. 90% HR people were looking from work from home policy. So we were not ready actually as an organization, as a HR department. So today, how do we decide? Okay, this set of people should work, or this set of people should not, because it's still manager favoritism continue, right?
It's a role and the impact, Ashish, predominantly. How much of the work can be done without the individual impacting in the team, right? Let's take an example. If there is a UX designer in a team, which is a team of about 10, 15 people, the work is very independent, right? For a guy, he needs just big machines to design and few other things. It's very individualized, right? So it really depends on the role which the individual, the impact. If it's very low, right, the person can work, ideally should be working from home. Secondly, it's as you said, it's also the manager discretion, but then it's also impact on the team, right? We might just decide for a fact that, hey, we just need to come twice in a week to office, right, in due course of time. Rest of the days you don't need to do that. An organization can effectively then look at of saying that instead of me assigning you one seat, I will look at hoteling concept, where you basically come in and you block the time and you come in, so that my seat charge as an organization is far more lower. So there is a lot of benefits of doing it. I think so, as long as there is no impact on the productivity, and as long as the organization is very forward looking and adaptable, I think so it will depend on individual, and individuals who are mature enough to take a decision. But end of the day, as you said, it works in the team, the kind of role, as long as it's not impacting the work. I think so it's a good decision to have in due course of time.
Yeah, Sudhir, any quick input in case you have something to share?
No, I think Aditya's covered it well. Yes, I think from a perspective, uh, I think the market forces, let me put it that way, will determine ultimately whether you work from home or you need to go to office. As a sales guy, if you need to get in front of a customer, you do. Now the question is, can I do it on Zoom, or do I have to meet and do it? So those are kind of things which will come. But I think largely what Aditya just mentioned is true. But businesses, manufacturing is a kind of a business you need people to be on the shop floor. So I think those are kind of some of the driving factors that you'll see as we go along.
Okay, great. One question coming here. Let me take this last. So there was something on before that. There was something on technical skills, soft skills. We already discussed on that. Which kind of skills would be focused post COVID or during COVID? Yeah, we touch upon, because there are various skills. It's combination, not only one, right? You may be good speaking, but if you don't know your job, how to do it technically, you may not be required. Great. Okay, this is out of the syllabus question, Sudhir and Aditya. You are from TA field, but yes, you can answer because you must be managing a large team. How the performance appraisal work, how it will be done, especially in such kind of scenario. Would you like to throw some light on that? Maybe, because it's a gig workforce position, it's a remote working, it's a role-based job. I don't know.
Okay, yeah, good out of syllabus question. So, I think the performance management depends what the companies are following, right? A lot of companies, some still follow the bell curve, some don't. Look at a lot of organizations look at a progressive way of saying that, hey, I will not share the ratings, but I will give you the inputs back to you, right? Really depends on where we are from an organization standpoint. A lot of organization will not tinker with it immediately, because remember for a fact this is the first quarter which we have been in the virtual workspace as we speak, right? Actually, in 2 days time this will be the first quarter. A lot of people are learning from this and seeing what is best from an organization standpoint, while some of them might follow Indian calendar year or something else. They will learn, see, and then change. Nobody will make a hasty decision right? And the good part, Ashish, which I'm realizing in the HR fraternity is we are picking up the phone and speaking to our counterparts and saying, hey, what's working for you, right? The collaboration has become far more higher as compared to what it was earlier, right? Even if we did a huge intern showcase event where we did a lot of work, and a lot of people whom I don't know just pinged me and said, can we speak? I gave them ideas what we discussed. So it's far more collaborative. I think the organizations will learn from each other and see what is best for their organization. But for the period of time, for the next, let's say till December, in the next 6 months, they will see how the organization reacts to it. What's the situation of COVID, 5-6 months down the line, and then decide on what's best from an organization standpoint. This is my inputs.
The way I look at it, I think it's going to go beyond the traditional methodologies of what we've been doing, right? All of a sudden you start seeing, evaluating what is important as a business, as a team. And I think it's going to be more around giving feedback. Rating is a context and that will happen. But I think, when we are talking about empathy, when we are talking about some of that context, how can I give feedback? Can I tell you you are off the mark or the objectives are not met? And how can I do it in a way? Because now there's this whole context of physical distance, right? And it can be taken anyway. So I think also your ability to say that, okay, somebody is giving me a feedback who may not be near, but I can understand what it means. See, the office context is a very important context from a human dynamics and behavior perspective, which is completely gone. To Aditya's point about about a quarter, and it'll be more. So you typically tend to pick up some of that, and then it's a, how do I put it? Maybe making the landing soft. When you're around, have a cup of tea and say, hey, think that thing that you did was good, but you could have. But now it's kind of how do I put it? It's like your distance, right? And it's like over now I'm sitting and telling you, hey, what things you did didn't go well. So the question really is, how does that dynamics evolve? And I think the context of the feedback would be critical from a perspective of rating still is an outcome, will be an outcome, that's fine. But I think those will not then determine what the dynamics of the team would be, or what the dynamics of you and the individual would be in terms of accepting this thing, because that proximity is gone now. So it's not something as a group, sometimes it happens, oh, I got a bad rating, but then there are other people who I speak, and then we are like, okay, agle saal phir dekhenge text. But I don't think that's going to happen now. That's what you're going to miss. So how it evolves, I think, but I think it's a lot to do with feedback, not just rating. Now you'll be forced to have that conversation. So, but it'll be distant in its own way. So that's the way I look at it.
Yeah, rating may go up because many of them already started doing it. It's more of conversation. How do I know how I'm doing and all? So manager also need to be trained. While we do all these things, so this sum of note. While we do all these things, HR has to be more digital savvy to ensure in each department digital tool should be there. Not only tool, but how to track the effectiveness of the tool. When we talk about this, like appraisal, can I track performance appraisal find through tool automation in the talent acquisition? How effectively we can shortlist the CVs, then online onboarding, online exit, or salary structure. Can I do plug and play and prepare a salary structure for gig workforce? Remote working, how many people are working?
Or Ashish, think of it like this, totally lateral thought out there. We are conversing, right? And I'm sure there'll be tools which will come up, which will assess the conversation and determine whether, it's what kind of a relationship we have. So it may not even be a tool that you go and type in, but it's like, this is a conversation, things like strength of our relationship, the context of communication, what I say, what you understand. I think maybe that's an opportunity right there for somebody to come up with something like that, because those are things which are now going to be very critical in terms of experimenting with some of this. And I think we have tech. It's not that we don't have tech. It's got to be repurposed in the context of behavior and individual behavior, psychology. I mean, and those things will come up now. You will see it. The large companies like the likes of any of the social media companies, any of those, have relied on psychologists to tell them as to how do humans interact and what behavior. So I think that you'll see a lot of that happening the way I see.
Great point. So while we are in the office, CCTV play major role. Okay, in case all of us have a CCTV. Now you know what will play major role. Sudevan, Aditya, everybody on the call. The recording of webinar, the recording of the conversation with team members, the team and all, everything, right? So if anything happened wrong, okay, HR or CHR or head of the department, okay, do you have recording of that session? So IT needs to enough infrastructure, right?
Could be.
Okay, 100 people are talking, 100 webinar session happening. Guys, please record it. We don't know when do we need. Okay, I stop here. I hand over to Vasundhara. So thanks, Sudev and Aditya. She will do the needful also.
Thanks, Ashish. Thank you.
Thanks everyone for attending the webinar. It was honor to have such a great panelist today. We will be sharing the recording of this session with everyone and will come up with the next session soon. Thank you everyone.
Thank you so much. Thanks, Aditya. Thanks, Ashish.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Thank you. Take care. Stay safe. Bye bye.